You are tuned to Janet Zenith Cablevision. Thank you for watching. It's time for talk. Each evening at this time, Monday through Friday, Rosemary interviews local personalities and others who bring items of interest to this community. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Tonight, Rosemary takes us by means of portable camera out of our studios and maybe into your neighborhood. And now, it's time for Talk.
Well, it's garden time, 2005. And we have a good garden this year, and especially after the rain we just got. This is mid-July, and things are really coming in. Cucumbers by the bucketful. Corn has already gone, but what we want to show you is there's a pest for everything. But we have something that is eating the very bottom tomatoes off our vine as they hang on the vine. He'll eat a whole I suspect a groundhog. I don't know what a possum eats, but let me show you what happens. Big, beautiful tomatoes this year, and they are just coming in. We've had several. We had them by the 1st of July. But let me show you what happens. Let me show you what's happening to them. All right, you see what he does? He just sits here. He's eating on this tomato for 2 nights, and there's more gone each night. So I decided to leave it on here. Maybe he'll come back to the same one. This height. So what is it? What is it? Is it a groundhog? Can he just reach through this size opening and chomp on that? Never have to pull it off? Some of you good gardeners out there can probably tell me. See, there's another down there that we've left on for 2 days. I don't believe he came back to that one last night. So we don't know what we're fighting here. I don't know if it's a groundhog. Groundhog just usually takes the whole tomato and goes out here and sits and eats. So I don't know what it is. But we're going to try to get him. So Russ is going to set a trap for us. We've caught groundhogs in this trap before, and hopefully we will be able to get him. But we don't know why he would, with all those tomatoes hanging there that he has access to, why would he walk into a trap that might look suspicious when he can just walk up to the vine and eat anything he wants to? Just doesn't make sense that he'll get in this trap. But if he does, we'll show you. So, tomato worms aren't the only thing you have to fight in the garden. We're not going to talk about aphids and other little bugs. Just look at this row of beans. Pretty row of, they're going to be my late beans, and they're eaten off. And one more night, and they would be eaten off to the ground. Well, what is it? You begin to suspect it's our old buddy, the groundhog. And then you begin to see other signs, such as big holes dug out under the barn. And here's the dirt piled out, holes over here. We've put these pieces of brick up there, and they're just thrown away. So you know you're not dealing with just a little bitty varmint like a rat. You're dealing with something formidable that can move bricks. So we put we set our trap because we thought we had a groundhog, and we put peanuts in a lid and put in here. And look at this fella. I guess it's a fella. Him or her, as the case may be. They're huge. They're huge. I bet he weighs 30, 35 pounds. I don't know if you can hear him chatter. Those teeth are terrible. His claws, boy, does he need his nails trimmed. He's hurt his nose trying to get out of this, get through some of the wire somewhere. You can't help but feel sorry for him. And if you would just leave my beans and tomatoes alone. Okay, so it's time to take him off. He cannot eat my beans, so he's going to have to go off into the sunset. We'll head for the hills. We've raised some tomatoes. We've got lots of green ones, not had many ripe ones yet. Of course, it's just the last part of July. But along with everything good, you seem like you have a problem, and if you see right here, you see the problem with tomatoes, and I think we've shown you these before. This fella can eat his weight every day, and he evidently lives 3 or 4 weeks. But what we've been doing lately is we've been picking them off and we've been putting them in a jar. Now what I thought would happen was, like my cabbage worms, the caterpillar will make what's called a chrysalis, and I thought this one would too. Now see, this one has been into eating tomatoes. All right, now you see, times got hard for him in that jar, and something inside triggered the urge to get down off the plant and to dig into the ground where he's going to make one of those brown, hard pupa. It's been about 5 minutes that it has taken, 6, 7 maybe, for him to burrow all the way. You see just the tip of his tail disappearing. Now, we don't know how far underground he will go. We don't know if he'll turn right or left. We don't know how far he'll dig, but hopefully we're going to be able to locate the pupa that he makes. It's supposed to be brown and hard, and you've probably dug up a million and wondered what they were as you were doing any sort of yard work. A lot of different big worms in the jar. You notice the difference in the color. There's some lighter still, even though they've been in that jar overnight. And then here's the ones that have turned dark. Now those that turn dark, immediately, look at them. They're already burrowing in. They can't wait to burrow. Hey, look at this. Look at this. Here's 2 going in here like crazy. They know that they're about to die if they stay in that shape. See, they've been in that jar overnight. And look at this one go. And so they know that they've been in the jar overnight. They have not had anything to eat. So they know their time is coming. And so they've got to get down in that ground and make a pupa. And make a pupa quickly. Look there, and this one, now see, the light colored one that hasn't been in the jar quite as long is not trying to dig, and this one, these 2 light colored ones are not trying to dig. They have not been stressed as many hours, but the 4 who have been, look at that one just disappearing completely. They will make the brown pupa. Here's 3 going down in one pile. It's incredible how they can dig. They have no digging mechanism except just little teeth. But believe me, he's disappeared. Here's 3 almost disappeared, and that one's going. Now, we will try to keep track of what happens in this bucket, how they make a pupa, how long it takes them to do. That's incredible to have seen them disappear. Here's one almost gone himself. They're going to hatch out and make a sphinx moth. Some people call it a hawk moth or a hummingbird moth. Hopefully we'll have a picture of all stages. All right, this is the bucket where we put the tomato hornworms about a week ago. And we looked once and they had not done anything. So we're going to dump the bucket again today, and hopefully we're going to see some in the pupa stage. Oh, I don't know. They must be. Oh yeah, look at here. There's 3 old. Oh yeah. Here's 2 really in the full pupa stage. Now here's where they made themselves a little hole in the dirt, and they turned into this this pupa state, and we have seen this before. See that? That's for the proboscis of the butterfly. They make a special tube for that. He had himself a nice little place buried in there, and I don't know if we've disrupted that or what. Now here, those two were in 3 days earlier. Now look here at these three, and these three are just in the process of making themselves that pupa cover, and that's hard. That's sort of... it feels like they've really got a coating on there, and then here's three who are just in the process of making that. We'll see, oh, there is one. Can you see him down in there? Can you see him really having a fit, being moving? See? Now he was really twisting. There you see him move. Even though they're in that hard stage, they can. And let's see where he's made a place for his proboscis. He's having a, now see, he's not really covered. This part still is real soft, green worm-like, and this part has already got the cover on it. Now let's see what else we've got. Isn't this exciting? It's just like digging for buried treasure. You may not think so, but I love it. There's nothing else in our bucket. Oh, yeah. He's another one in the nice still green. He's the last one we put in. He's still green. And we're going to put some more in today, because now he's really active, just like the worm on the bush. He's only been in about 3 days. So he goes from here to here to here and then to here. Now how long it will take them to hatch out, we're going to keep up with that for you. You'd think all we've got to do is just come out and pour out buckets of worm. See that one in the pupa stage that's in here? Now he's really, let's get him out. Let's see what he looks like. He's partially green and brown. He may be one of the later ones. Now remember, they have a separate thing for their proboscis. You know what? He thinks he'd like to bite me, but that's the wrong end to bite with. A lot of people have pretty things in their windows, decorative. We have worms. Remember those pupa that we poured out the other day? And here is one that's just out of the dirt. And you remember when we looked at those. But we put one or two in this jar to try to keep an eye. Bring them out in the sun so you can perhaps see. So we're hopeful to get a sphinx moth. Unlike many of the butterflies in your yard like this one, the sphinx moth flies only at night. The sphinx moth, of course, laying the eggs for the hornworm, tomato hornworm. So we went out at night with this flashlight, and it's amazing to see a butterfly whose eyes glow in the dark, and that's exactly what we caught with this when we caught this sphinx moth. Laying eggs, just zapping from one tomato plant to the other. Russ caught it. This thing, she's very short-lived, but boy, can she lay hundreds of eggs in the night or two that she is out. And you probably have seen these and just didn't realize that some people call them a hawk moth, some people call them no, she's prettier from the other side. Hawk moth or the hummingbird moth, because it looks like it could be a hummingbird, except it's flying by night. So you're looking at the adult tomato hornworm that hatches out of that pupa stage.
You have been watching Time for Talk. Time for Talk is a community betterment service designed to cooperate with our local community betterment program. Time for Talk is brought to you through the cooperation of Kennett Cablevision Incorporated and is produced through the facilities of the Slicer Street Church. The Holy Scriptures come alive. Coming up next. Stay tuned.